We're going.
Welcome, everybody, to another Rev Talk. Today, we're going to talk about speak up or speak out. Kim called me on it. She had done a reading for me, and the card was telling her, I need to speak my truth. I need to not sit back and just let it all go by. I need to speak out and I need to speak up. So the other day, we had an angel meeting and we were just all talking about what has transpired and where we come from. And I'm fine just sitting back and listening to everybody and absorbing it all. And all of a sudden it comes to Kim's turn here. And she goes, when she's done with what she says, she goes, what was your card, Beverly? You know, I didn't even have time to freeze or think what I was going to say. And usually I have to take a deep breath and analyze so I don't say anything I shouldn't. But what I said, which I can't even remember, was quite good. And a lot of people understood what I was trying to say. And I think what I remember is I view, and this is a terrible, I view death as not an ending, but a beginning. And, you know, through all our times we've talked about we come into this life knowing what lessons we're going to learn, and that's what we've signed up for. And once you realize it's all in a divine orchestration of how and when everything happens to you, you will realize you can just sit back and speak up and speak out. Because the more we do this, the more spiritual meanings are going to come to the world and the more love that's going to be pushed out. Because you're not going to speak in derogatory things because that's not our nature. We're thinking from a heart-based or a love-based saying. And there comes times when people say something that's going to irritate you, but you're not going to fly back at them and correct them. You usually will take the conversation around the back way and say what you want to say without having to argue with them. Or normally when you have to argue, neither person wins because neither is going to accept the other person what they're saying. And I think we've learned that now in our travels, that just being your honest self and speaking from your heart, people will not take offense. They may not listen to you, but they're not going to take offense for what you have to say. And when I said I view death differently, I have no disrespect for anybody and how they view death. However, look at the whole picture because as you see so many things around you, one of the things I just posted on Facebook was about the tree. And this lady had lost her mother and she was just devastated. And for a whole year, she couldn't even function. And then she had a dream about her mother and she started seeing her mother, feeling her mother, knowing her mother was speaking to her. And it said, get up and go out in the moonlight. And she got up and all she saw was the beautiful moon and all the white around her, remembering she walked with her mother. And then this just kept building and building and building. And all of a sudden, long story short, she realized I've never lost my mother, my grandmother, my grandparents. We're all one. We're all together. It's just in a different dimensional of time. And so I just thought that's really beautiful because we are tethered to our ancestors and they're always there for us. It's just a matter of talking to them. You don't have to see them, you don't have to hear them. You talk to them as they're here. And we do that all the time to our animals that have passed. At least I do. Mm-hmm. And I talk to my critters out there that, you know, the parents are gone, but the babies are here, you know, and it's just a wonderful way to see how the world never ends. It never stops. We're always here. So we have to speak up and speak out.
I love that. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Beth. That really was. I was sitting here thinking, okay, what am I going to contribute to this? And I really I have nothing. Um, Except I kept thinking, yeah, I did push you under the bus on that one
You did.
because I was sitting there and I know you well enough to know that you're not going to speak up or speak out, and you're going to try and fly under the radar as much as possible, and hopefully nobody's going to pick you at all, which we know in that group that's not going to happen, but you want to wait. And I've done that too, where I will bide my time and I will wait, just listening to everybody and not really thinking to myself if I have anything really to add. And yes, speaking up and speaking out is very good to do for yourself. If you have something that you want to say, or something that you want to express, it doesn't mean you have to say something all the time. There are times when, and for me, there are times like I think I don't know what I have to really contribute, and I was okay with that. I'm okay with that because everything that you just said was beautiful, and what you had said on Saturday was also very beautiful, and I thought, you know what? Yes, somebody needs to let you know that what you're saying is important and it's of value, and you need to know that. So, so a lot of times we are not, that's not expressed to us. We always think, oh, well, why am I going to say anything? They're not going to like what I say, or there's always that chatter, that self doubt in the background, and we need to, it is part of our learning process. It is a lesson to learn to say, well, you know what, I am going to speak. I'm going to speak out. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say this because I feel I have something to contribute to the conversation. And so, I think that's important. The discernment of speaking up and speaking out, not just so that you say things, so that you're whatever. You don't always have to, but follow your intuition.
Mhm.
Listen to your guides, listen to your angels, listen to your intuition, because they're gonna give you little prods, they're gonna give you little nudges and say, yes, she has something to say that's of value. And that's what I got on Saturday. My angels and my team were saying, okay, you need to tell, get Bev in there because she's got something of value to say.
Oh, thank
So
you.
so yeah, I was like, oh, I'm getting better at listening to my angels and listening to my team. A lot of times I'm sure they just sit back and they go, yep, she didn't hear us on that one. Yeah, she didn't hear us on that one. Okay, nope, that one flew away. Every once in a while, though, I get in there and they're like, oh, yes, she got it.
Because it goes where your mind's going, and
Yes,
that's it clicks, I guess is the word. And you'll find the more and more we get more increased vibrations, I guess, things are going to click all over. And it's the funniest thing because one of the things was think outside the box on one of our lessons. And I don't know if you can see, I painted my
oh, I
fingers
love that.
every color. And
Easter,
and then I put a breast ribbon and I put a cancer ribbon for Logan.
right?
And I I'm very plain. I'll wear one color. It's usually red, orange, and
I
that's it.
love that.
And so I did every color.
I love
And it's outside the box. It's not me, but it felt good. So I
Yes,
listened and I reacted and it
yes,
made me feel good.
yes. Well,
So
And
That's where
that's
we are.
again, they say follow your bliss. And sometimes I think, oh, you know why? You know what the heck that means? That's what it means. Just something little. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be, setting off fireworks somewhere. It can be just something a little different. And you think, oh, yeah, okay, I like that. That's where that comes from. That's where that energy helps with the creativity. That's where you pick up the momentum, to like you said, we're all our ancestors are always with us, and yes, they are. And I'm going to just briefly say this. I'm going to just mention this, that one of our dear friends, her daughter passed away on Tuesday, and it's one of those things where I think to myself, one of the first things I thought was, oh gosh, no parent should have to bury their child. And she was her daughter was such a trooper, but she was in a bad way. It was a blessing that she's no longer suffering. And yet it's still heartbreaking. So I send out my love and comfort and care to them and to their family. And then also understanding that her faith is very strong, and she knows exactly where her daughter is and will be able to talk with her, whenever she wants. And so that tether has not been severed. That beautiful bond physically, yes, okay, that's how that happens. And yet she can still talk to her whenever she wants, and she will be there, just like our ancestors are there, just like our friends, and the whole we are one thing, which I know sounds kind of cliched. It's true in that we are connected energetically throughout space and time. And so, you can call upon that. And like I was telling you, I did not get much sleep last night because apparently I was supposed to have a conversation for a very long period of time about a lot of things going on. So I'm speaking up and speaking out, to my team and to the universe, like, okay, yeah, okay. Hope we don't have too many more of those nights, but that's part of it. It's part of it, being able to communicate with across long distances, wherever, and whatever dimension and whatever, time frame there is. And we can do that. We can do that now. We just have to kind of open ourselves up to that.
Exactly right.
So I think I did have something to contribute. It just kind of, there it went. Oh, but that was beautiful, Bev. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much for that. And we want to, I guess we're going to close out for today. We want to thank you all for joining us on another Rev Talk, and to remind you to be gentle with yourself and to be kind to yourself, and to remember that you are unique in all the universe. There will never be another just like you in all of space and time. You are powerful, you are cherished, and you are loved. And without you, the song of the universe would be incomplete. Until next time, my friends, be well.